And today is Friday, the 11th of August. Welcome to Blue to Black. And I hope you just enjoy, having a discussion and interview with some of the artists that come into the spaces and, get to know some of these brilliant talent that are out there. So thank you once again for Ziak for being here as a co-host. Much appreciated. And Ziak, now the mic's yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and hosting the spaces. These are very necessary, especially right now that we are not where NFTs are probably not doing the best that they have done. But right now, my name is Ziak. That's like my artistic name. It does have a thing with my actual real name, but I go by Ziak, and I mostly do photography, but like I have talked to you in previous spaces, I've done art as well since I was a kid, and I'm currently just trying to try different mediums, like trying things with AI art. Very soon, we'll go to different blockchains so that hopefully I can make my community grow a little bit bigger and obviously get funds because that's extremely important. The sales, marketing strategies, all of those things are actually very important because otherwise, unfortunately, without the funds, you cannot buy materials, you cannot do a lot of things. So, but for the most part, it's photography that makes me feel the most free whenever I'm creating something. I feel like I can just go around and it's like a little adventure. And I just take photos either with my most of the time with my phone, with my iPhone. And then every now and then I do take out my camera. It's easier to just kind of pull out your phone and kind of go unseen whenever you're taking pictures. But as of right now, that's what I'm doing. Just going around trying to get to know more people and trying to get to know different blockchains, different platforms, and then hopefully dropping some dope collections very, very soon.
So the journey in NFT is really what all of this is all about. Because of really having met a lot of artists, both on the spaces and off the spaces, in general on Twitter, you get to that point where you just realize that sometimes you need a little bit more. You need a video about yourself. You need to have these kind of presentations about yourself. So this whole kind of exploration into kind of recording these spaces for YouTube has the purpose actually of serving to the artist, for serving as having that bit of an interview about you, having that bit of information about you that others can kind of get to know you. And that's really what this is all about. It's actually more about getting to know who you are, who is Ziak. And what are your dreams and aspirations, and what is this journey like on exploring NFTs? Because that's really what everybody's asking. How is that journey? Should I get involved in it? Should I not get involved in it? What is the pros and cons of tackling that journey? And besides that, you are also an artist, kind of creating and having to find different mediums to tackle in terms of promoting yourself. And, once again, that goes into visual, that goes into, photos and write ups and interviews and all of these type of things that really gives a better scope of the artist involved. And that really makes it so important. In this regard, I want you to sometimes get back to, the basics of what is the brand Ziak? Who is the brand Ziak? And what do you represent in terms of kind of like what you're tackling and how are you transferring that to the blockchain or to modern technologies? There are so many things, but give us that bit of an introduction as to, what do you represent and where do you come from?
So I would say that, I'm a very kind of how could I say, like I like to keep, I guess, my personal life personal and try to just make my art and photography something that can be widely seen by a lot of people and not necessarily be like a straight up something extremely personal. So most of the time, whenever I take photography, I do take things that reflect who I am. So I would say that my best pieces are the ones that I kind of dedicate to like mental health or, like social, political things that are happening in the moment, like in the present. And that's something that I feel like it's important to make your pieces. At least for myself, I think it's important to make my photography pieces or art pieces something that can be relatable for most people and that can make them feel better about themselves, or maybe think about a subject that they don't usually think about that might be very important. So, for example, not everything is that way. Like some of the pieces that I have, they're just simply art. Like that's just what it is. But some of the ones that I do kind of feel the most proud of are the ones that are dedicated to things that, like anxiety, for example, something that a lot of people can relate to. And some things, some feelings that we as humans have cannot be said in words. There's just no words for them. So I think that's something that a lot of artists, mostly artists, probably not so much photographers, but at the same time, yes, but it's mostly like an artist thing where we sometimes make art to describe the emotions and feelings that we are feeling that cannot be described in words, that cannot be explained. So, as overall, I plan to be here for the long run. As far as like NFTs, I think they're very important. They're changing every single day, like every single minute almost, it seems. There's different blockchains, different cryptocurrencies that we list on, and each one works differently. At the end of the day, for a one-of-one artist like myself, I think that it's safe to bet on us because we're here for the long run. Like we won't stop creating, and even though we may take breaks every once in a while, like myself, sometimes I have to take a break, especially because art can be very heavy on me. Photography, not so much. That's like complete opposite. But that's just kind of what I want to show people as myself, like as an artist, photographer, like just being genuine and honest with my work. And then, if I can, and if it's possible, make the art piece or photography piece something that can be relatable to a lot of people and help them maybe feel better or think about things that they might not be comfortable thinking about, but they must think about, like mental health. Like that's something extremely important, and that's something that I often talk about with a lot of my pieces.
The thing that struck the biggest chord with me there is where you said that, some art, some emotions, some feelings can't be expressed through words, and that it needs that kind of artistic creativity, that expression to convey that type of emotion, feeling, even in regards to anxiety. And, there are so many different ones, if you kind of classify the category of mental health. So that really is a very important element, and that is really what all of this is supposed to be about. It's about, finding that 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 time when art has a voice. Like when does art have a voice? And what does it say? How does it say something? How does it convey that? And it is such a deep, question to every artist. Every artwork can have its own kind of unique voice, expressing, those things that, words sometimes can't express. And it really needs that creativity to interpret that feeling kind of better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and something that for I think that we all know, or like at least maybe most of us notice, that photography doesn't sell as much as art, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the way it is. Um, but sometimes art is something that I think, well, I can make pretty good art. Like I can make some good digital art if you just give me like the tools. I can make some dope drawings, like portraits, things like that. It's not perfect, but it's fairly good. But at the same time, I think that something that is not appreciated enough from a lot of people is that one-on-one artists, people that work with their hands and take hours to make a piece that looks simple, but it may take 5 to 10 hours, up to like 40 hours, like basically the whole week. That's something that should be appreciated a little bit more, especially because for a lot of people, like I said, some emotions cannot be described with words. You cannot just simply explain them. You have to kind of put like a visual representation to them. So the people that do make art that is dedicated to these heavy emotions should definitely be very like proud of themselves, but also admired, because for me personally, like I said, even though I can draw, it's very tough for me to like sit in a place and sit still for long periods of time. So essentially, it becomes kind of like a frustrating thing to do. So for the people that do get the patience to sit down and draw something, or paint something that comes out amazing, it's definitely work that should be admired. It's not just a piece of art. There's a lot of work into that.
But then when you look at dancing, so dancing is you only have the option of really using the body, the human body to express on, whatever you're feeling, but what you're feeling is a kind of an outside source. It is an outside influence. And then that influence of something that you're experiencing through society or through the environment, that then kind of like affects you. But you then use only the human body, the hands and the feet and the body and the neck and your eyes and your smile, and you use all of those kind of like elements of the body in order to express how you are feeling. And how you are feeling is absolutely, it's just like an embrace of the emotions. It is just, it also becomes more, it becomes, kind of tapping into that choreography that you have learned in the past, the different kind of tools and things and tricks that you can associate with that rhythm or with that beat, or just the emotions that you're feeling, and then you can just kind of express that, either freestyle or with a partner. But there is this kind of syncness that happens, this kind of expression that happens, and all of that really becomes just using the body to express. You have no tools but the body. And that is why I like kind of thinking about dancing in terms of analyzing art and looking at the different intentions that becomes visible through the expression. You can see when that person smiles, that smile in itself, contributes to that dance. That different types of techniques that are applied, the sequence of it and all of that then also, becomes part of that dance, and something that we can relate with both culturally and symbolically. And the same applies to photography. You're in photography, you use the tool of the camera to convey, that specific expression of your emotions, of your feelings, of what is, kind of happening in the environment, kind of reflecting on the environment, reflecting on the people, reflecting on, emotional well-being, or just simply moving about and absorbing, what you are seeing. And but it is still kind of like, that outside influences. You have that the world is influencing you as an artist, and then you have this kind of like urge to express yourself and to kind of capture that moments or capture that feeling. And it really becomes, just so interesting in terms of what gets captured, how it gets kind of treated, and how it gets presented. And then, it is up to the artist to really convey either, the story attached to it, or it is just plainly visible, to us in what we see visually. And it becomes that continuation of that outside influences.
Something that I would say regarding like the body language. Yeah, I mean, like I think that us as humans, we probably think as ourselves as the worst species on earth, because we kind of are. But at the same time, with a collection that I'm dropping very soon, I don't know when, but very soon I'm working on it. It's a collection from Mexico, because I'm from Mexico. I've been here for a few months and I've been taking pictures. And something that is different from Mexico and the US is obviously everything. But, in at least where I used to live in Texas, we in the US are very pressured to just kind of always be in competitive mode and, like always strive for the next big move, like the next big thing that we have to work on and just like keep working, working, working. Something that reminds me as to what I think you were trying to describe by dancing is just the feeling of humans when they move and they smile and they jump, like all the things that we do when we're happy, like our body reflects that. And in this collection, the pieces that I've taken, I that's what I love about photography. Like I just go outside, and at least here there's more to take pictures of than in the US, or at least Texas. People are outside like doing so many things, like dancing. Literally, there's so many dancing in the streets, like people, just families having a picnic, eating, drinking, not alcohol, but like just eating. Uh, People here, they might not be the most educated. They might not have that capitalism mentality that we have in the US. They might not have the newest iPhone or all these things, all these material things. But whenever I take a picture and I capture these moments, everything about their bodies shows how happy they are, how present they are in the moment. And to me, like that's just like all these exterior outside forces and vibes from people, you kind of absorb them. So whenever I see these people smiling and just having a good time, being present in the moment, like I kind of get connected to that and I try to capture it. And whenever I look back into that picture, I it brings me back to that moment. So, that's kind of like dancing. Like life is just kind of like a dancing piece in itself. So I don't know. I was just wanting to say that because that's how much I admire photography, um, especially like street photography, which is what I do. I just go outside, try to take pictures, and capture moments that will last a lifetime for not just myself, but anyone that sees them can probably picture themselves in that setting and see or experience, make a scene in their head as to what was happening, and it was a good memory. Um, so I think that photography is extremely important. But hopefully, for sure, the people that appreciate it will appreciate these pieces as much as I do whenever I do drop them. But I just wanted to say that and say thank you to the people that are up here as the speakers, as listeners. Maybe soon we will get to talk to them too. But thank you for listening.
Absolutely. And we've got another photographer here in the panel, Asim. Asim, would you like to introduce yourself there to everybody?
Yes, I'm Nasim. I'm nearly 28. I'm from Iran, a street and fine art photographer, like the Ziad, I think. I start my photography journey with street photography, then I'm into fine art, and just like that. And is there any question? And the thing I'm not sure I agree with you too is that for me, art is not the kind of thing I express. Art is me, art is my words, and my safe zone, not just uh, the type of way to express my feelings or express something. I try to show people and myself, not just being a word or motto or emotions. And that's it. If you have any question, I'm here.
Absolutely. Now we're going to get to know you because that is what we really aimed at doing here. Kind of get around What do you represent? What is that, message that you're projecting to society about your contribution to society? What is it that your presence, your art, your frequency, your light, what your color, everything kind of contributes to that expression, that artistic kind of creativity, and how you use photography as a tool to kind of like emphasize on those elements. And so why don't you start by presenting us one of your artworks that you like to kind of present to us?
Sure, why not? It's my latest mint, and this art is really, really important for me because it takes 6 months to start a project, do that, and from idea to reality, it takes 6 months for me. I'm from Iran, and I don't know how much you know from my country, but we are in protest, and about 31 or 35 days, it's the anniversary of our protest, and it's a start from death of a girl by morality police. And this art for me is the whole thing we have and we feel, we sense, we do in here, because we all under the pressure, especially the artists. And it's some kind of funny thing, but we call prisons university because most of the prisoner are scientists, are students, are artists. And for all of us, art is the way we can show our country to the world. Most people say that most of arts are dark or scary, but when you live in some kind of area, Middle East, in Asia, everything is dark for you. Especially if you're a girl, you do something illegal, nude art, or any kind of art you use human body without any protect or without any clothes, especially women's body, it's illegal and it's crime. The crime is here. But for me, it's the way I can show everything to the world. Yeah, I know it's more than horrible for all people around the world, but is that what it is? We try to change it. We lost so many people in this way, but it's our way to protest against everything, and it's me.
Well, I am totally behind you in that journey. And I do feel that being presented to an international audience is important because it shines light on the matter. It shines light on the feelings and the emotions of the women of Iran. And that is very important to recognize that and to also kind of help in terms of creating a bit of awareness on behalf of you, Iranian artist, and what you're representing, and the strong kind of voice that gets projected through your artwork on a deliberate means, having a strong intention to represent. And in this case, the artworks presents vengeance, which is woman, life, freedom. So it really is a kind of like a look into exactly the elements of what you just mentioned, the freedom of Iranian women, and exactly, what kind of this image says. So to interpret the image, I'll have to explain to some of the YouTube viewers and everybody who can't see the image that we have this female figure semi-nude with the breast and showing, and the lips are sewn shut, and there is a blindfold over the eyes, and the hands are pretty bloodied, and there's like marks and kind of touching on the body from these red hands, and it then becomes a kind of like a question in its own in its own degree, and the statement. The statement is really about, the freedom of, the female sexuality, the, its education, the entire future of, the feminine side of Iran. And that is why every artwork always have, different contexts. It's got a cultural context, and in this regard it is, you know deliberately focusing on the cultural context of, the society. It's got a political context for where it is almost kind of showing, the innocence, showing the silence, showing the blindness, showing the blood on the hands, and, showing, the vulnerability of the character, which is really just so important. And it pays kind of like special attention to, the way that the figure is being presented. So the nudity, the nakedness, that really just emphasizes on the vulnerability of these women in this specific situation. And then obviously, there's the social context, the social context of, what is it representing about society? Is it a comment on humanity? Is it a comment on society? And then once again, it falls into that category. So every artwork comes back to its context. It comes back to the artist, and it comes back to the development of the thoughts of the artist, what the artist is representing in this regard, and what is this artwork then projecting towards its audience. And with that being said, let's go to Ziak. Ziak, what do you say?
Well, I just wanted to say that, what's going on in Iran, which has been going on for a while now, is just not just something that impacts the women living in Iran and the areas nearby, but all the women like around the world have been oppressed to a certain degree at some point in history. And to know that these things are happening in 2023, like, is just, it's disappointing but not surprising. And it's not even about a woman's body, it's just more about violating someone's freedom, essentially, and violating someone that they think is weaker than them. So in this case, they just choose to go against women. Uh, but I think it's extremely important. You see the picture that Nassim put up there, and it's a picture that means so much. That is a naked woman, semi naked. But, I look at it and I don't think to myself, well, her showing her skin is a sin and she should be punished. Like, it's just the human body as it comes naturally. The fact that things like these are being punished with even death in these places right now is extremely, extremely horrible. It's probably like the lowest that a human can do. And at the end of the day, it's just like plain ignorance, like plain ignorance. The people that do all these things to these women are just extremely depressed, probably like extremely, extremely unhappy. And they just try to reflect that unhappiness on other people, and they try to project it. Um, and unfortunately, they do it with the worst way possible, which is by beating these women up. And not just women, like, it's become a thing where they just beat everyone up. I mean, from what I've seen, read on articles, it seems like Nassim said, like professionals, like men that are aware that a woman's body is nothing to be afraid of, men that defend them, they've also been punished. And it's extremely, extremely sad. But like Nassim said, like, this is when art has a voice, and it shows something that, it's, I mean, it could even be more explicit than this, but obviously people don't want to show certain things. Um, but this piece itself, I mean, I don't even know how can someone probably look into it and be like, yeah, that's a bad piece, because it's not like it's amazing. And I think it reflects probably what a lot of women are feeling at the moment, not just in Iran, but like around the world.
Absolutely, and that really is true. But then again, intercultural, international conversations like this, it really serves as a purpose. It serves with a purpose. For these type of conversations, it provokes awareness, and it also develops the art. So, despite the fact of people being suppressed, the freedom of expression is still alive. The development of artistic kind of expression is still alive. So, it basically saying that, you are actually the ones basically, keeping it alive, keeping the voice of society alive, and being capable of reflecting, despite how everybody is kind of trying to suppress you. And it just shows so much power to you, and it just shows so much power to the artist, who then kind of like decides to ask themselves that question: what does your art represent? What do you represent? And is there a kind of deeper significance, to society, to humanity? And that is where, it actually becomes pretty important. It becomes very important art. These are the type of artwork that then in the end of the day really represents, the face and face of, the women of Iran, the face of this revolution, the face of, the artistic development, despite the suppression. And that's why there will always be hope. All artwork in itself then almost represents a type of hope. And that is exactly what it does here. It kind of keeps that hope alive. It keeps that expression alive, that there needs to be attention, that there needs to be development, that there needs to be, a consciousness shift, or however you want to put it, towards that specific issue. And that is very, very important. So thank you for that, Asim.
My pleasure, and I'm so happy you understand the concept, you understand the words and everything. I try my best because everyone doesn't have a same solution for protest or same way to protest. It is my way, not just for women. I try to be voice of LGBT community from Iran. They are criminal by themselves from the birth right now, but I try to be their voice, my voice, and whoever needs anyone's mic to show themselves to the world. And I think it's my job to be an artist. It's my motto to be an artist and target, because I think it's based on my education background. I have bachelor of law, and it means different for me. Everything I create, I can't be silenced. It's my way because I can't do it in my mm, uh, field of work. I can't be a lawyer in here or any type of law person, but I try to be voices in art, and it's my job and my target. Thank you.
And that you definitely are. You are that voice, and just feel proud of that. And just know that sometimes these type of artworks are more a kind of generational, is that or even the right word, statement. So it's a statement about our generation. It's a statement about our current times. And because of that fact, it's the type of artworks that should really be presented, in a curation in a museum, more so than sometimes, being projected on the walls of, somebody's house. But that's just why I say, in my regard, these type of artworks that focuses on, that deeper, message to the world, are really the type of precious arts. Those are the type of artworks that moves humanity forward, that makes us kind of develop in terms of our understanding and our kind of consciousness. And obviously at different times you will feel different things, and you might explore different themes in the future, but you first need to get conclusion to this. You first need to kind of like feel like you've been heard, or feel like you've been understood, or society have been interpreted, and just embrace that journey about this you know
Yes, like Ziak said before, so many people still don't estimate photography as an artistic work and didn't pay attention to the photography because they said you just shoot a photo, it doesn't have hard work and blah 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 blah. So many persons said that to me, or they said your art not uh, the thing we want. It's not beautiful in their eyes. And I'm totally agree with Ziak and with you, Black, because everything needs to be in some place to show their emotions, their words. But if you have no place to show, yes, it is no one can't hear it. But it's a problem, and we all photographers have that. And just it, yes.
Let me just say too, like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that, like, oh, well, it just takes less than a second for you to take a picture. But that's why sometimes I try to let people know that, like, look, first of all, we have to get out of our comfort zone, like, a lot. We have to, in my case, for example, I have not done like studio photography, but I have to physically get to a location, literally get there somehow, and then take a picture and capture the right moment, which I might have to just wait for a couple minutes, maybe half an hour, a couple hours. Not to mention that sometimes when I try to take pictures of people, I try to always get their permission first. There has been people that I go up to first and ask them like, "Hey, can I take a picture of you? It's just for a portrait." And they say no. And I just respectfully, I respect their decision. Like, they don't have to say yes to me. But it's a situation that you have to put yourself on. It's uncomfortable, and it's obviously out of your comfort zone. And that's when sometimes I put some of these things out there. And hopefully with this collection, I hope that it does well. And people appreciate the fact that I have to get to places, one way or another, and then to capture the right moment. And if there is a portrait included, which I will include some of them, I have to, like, build up the courage to ask that person, "Can I take a picture of you?" And then actually take the picture if they say yes. So there's a lot to it, more than just clicking on something or tapping on your phone and taking a picture. Like in your case, you have to provide all the props, like the paint, the blindfold, like all the materials, and then provide the model, which I'm not sure if in this case is yourself, but if you use models, you have to get them to feel comfortable, to feel part of the project, because that's what they are. And that takes time, it takes effort. And art is no different. Like, art takes time, it takes effort. And for some of us, like myself, making a piece of art, I can make good pieces of art, but mentally it's such a frustrating process. So sometimes I just don't draw as much. But yeah, photography is extremely important. Not sure why people don't appreciate it as much, honestly, but at the end of the day, we can just simply keep talking about it, and the people that appreciate it will make it noticeable. But there's a lot of photographers around. So, we can just simply support each other at that point. But photography is amazing. I love photography.
Uh,
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say to you there, Asim, that the thing that I admire the most about you is your bravery for kind of standing out and standing up. And, despite the fact that, there can be massive consequences for doing what you're doing. And that is just such a pity. It is just such a pity that there needs to be consequences for doing what you're doing, that it is being wrongly interpreted both for, the nudity element, for, the protest element, and for, just, being so bold about it, and being so deliberate about it. And that is very, very important. And that just shows, so much bravery that, so much ode goes out to, you all that really, do your part in kind of presenting the society in this matter. And for that, I just congratulate you.
So many thanks, really, really, so many thanks. Yes, it's hard. If you want to be a street photographer, I have this problem so many times, and so many people never let you do that. And I'm kind of rude about that, and I never ask their permission. But I try to not show a specific person face in street photography. Yeah, it's kind of hard, especially in Asian communities, to show their faces. They have so many insecurities, they have so many rules about themselves. And about the nude art, especially, yes, it's hard for me. This portrait is one of my family member, but I have this problem so much. I archived more than 7,700 photos because of the models. They out of nowhere they decide that okay, you should take out my photos from your all social media, please never share them or share my faces. And it's really hard, it's really hard and frustrating. Because of that, I promise to myself I never do that again when I'm still in Iran, or I never do anything with other people, because it's Iran and it's a strict community, it's a religious community, and I never do that again. And yes, it's hard. My mom's scared for my death every second I go out, and she's still in very, very, very stressful times. Because of that, I'm more than 6 months I never use the uh, transportation, public transportation, because of her scary thoughts about my life, and it's really hard. Yes.
Well, I would like to just add, kind of lastly, is that education is extremely important. The only way to truly fix the problems that are happening right now is to truly pay attention to like the younger generations, especially like teenagers and kids, and just teach them that a naked female body is nothing to be afraid of, and is nothing to be provoked about, to violate and to hurt. Um, that's something that I know. The point that I'm trying to make is that all the children, all the girls, or the young boys that are seeing this right now, it's extremely important that if you are there and if you can have an impact with them, have conversations whenever you have the chance. I don't see myself going through that much stress. Honestly, it's just very unfortunate that you have to be afraid for your life every second that you leave the house, and even when you don't leave the house. Here in Mexico is not as bad as in Iran, but things like that happen, but they happen everywhere. They happen in the US, and they happen in every single place of the world. It doesn't matter how advanced it may be. um, Obviously it's worse in some places than others, but just keep doing what you're doing, having the conversation with the people that appreciate the art and that understand the point of it, and it's not just a picture, it's much more than that. So just keep what you're doing. I don't think I have to tell you, because you're here, you're showing up, and I think I've seen you before. So hopefully we'll get the eyes of the people that will collect this piece to just make things even better and bigger for your future projects too.
Really, really, thank you. I hope so, because I wasn't there for more than 2 months. I was really disappointed of the spaces and communities, but now I'm back. I'm not that much happy and not that much hopeful about everything, but I'm here again because not just for myself, because of the people we lost during these years and days. I wanted their voices, not just mine. And that's it. Thank you for both of you. And two speakers are here from blind and 30 minutes. Sorry, you can start speaking.
No, don't you worry about a thing. That's why I say, it really is all about, you and presenting yourself to the audience in terms of what you represent and, finding that, deeper kind of symbolism to all of that. And we are blessed with the presence of another Iranian artist, Zara. And then we also got Jonathan here on the stage. So, Jonathan, I wanted to make you co-host there, but I seem to got a glitch here with only allowed one at the moment. So I'll fix that as soon as I can. But in the meantime, why don't we just quickly say a shout out to Chrissy there, and then we're going to start talking to Zara.
Hello, Blue. Thank you for the introduction. It's a wonderful Friday here in Tennessee. It's been a busy week. Lots of things going on. But how's things going with you?
With me, it's going awesome. We started doing these spaces kind of specifically targeting, YouTube. So yes, everything that we are kind of doing here are supposed to be kind of like be reflecting on YouTube as well. So kind of building an audience there as well, and hoping to just kind of like leave some evidence behind of how epic these conversations can become and how deep they can become and how symbolic they become and how precious they really become to what we are living and what we are kind of understanding about international
Mhm.
art. And it is just so important. It really is just so important, and that's why everybody's opinion matters, and I want you to participate in the conversations that we are having here. So it seems like Zara's having a bit of a problem connecting. So, Zara, as soon as you are back into the panel there, please turn on your mic there and we can have a test and see if your mic works there. Zara?
I think she have a problem with the internet because we all use VPNs to connect to the any kind of platforms because of that and really messed up internet connections. I think she has so many problems to be here.
Sarah, you are back on the panel. She's connecting. So can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Welcome to the panel there, Zara.
Oh, thanks God. Hello, all friends. Hello, dear Blue to Black. Hello, dear Zia Canceris, and all dear friends. And hello to dear Nassim. Happy to see here and
Hello,
So
Blondie.
meet you. And
let's give you a
it's
brief
my first
introduction
time that I.
to Zara. So Zara is also a brilliant artist, one that we've collaborated with. She is part of the collection of When Artists a Voice, and she has also presented an absolutely beautiful artwork for in collaboration to all of this. And her artwork is also kind of like projecting on a little bit about the Iranian situation. But besides that, she does just amazing artworks, and she's a painter, and she does so many different things. And she's got this special gift of also taking care of special need children in terms of educating them about art and, giving them that little bit of, peace and tranquility for expressing themselves. These, beautiful, fragile minds that sometimes have, these special needs. And that just makes her, such a valuable asset to humanity in general. And Zara, I hope that we can kind of get you have a bit of a stable signal so that you can kind of introduce yourself a bit more, and we can also get to know you a little bit more in terms of, an artwork that you'd like to present. Can you hear me, Zara?
Sada? Oh, she went down as a listener again. So we'll try to get her back up. Might have to leave a space in general, close the app, and then come back again. Not sure if that could work.
Yeah, no, I'm sure once we get her back on your, she can let us know. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to her profile, and we're going to have a look at, her latest pin tweet, and then we'll have a kind of bit of a look into it, and we'll see just some things that can be said about, her art in general. So I'll just take the pin tweet. It is a collection of 9 images, it seems, and we'll post that onto, the post, and then I'll also share this latest artwork of hers, a portrait painting. I'll share that also to the space, and then we can dive into that, and we can kind of like, analyze a little bit more about Zara. So in the meantime, I think Zara will be reconnecting. She's got a bit of a bad signal. So we'll just kind of investigate her art a little bit. So the first one of 9 images is, just a collection of some of her artworks. And it kind of like shows you, a bit more about her talents and, her creativity. So much to be said. Beautiful, beautiful artworks. Female figures, another female portrait. Then here we've got a more of an abstract kind of artwork. And then on a second line, we've got this female figure, like almost looks like a dragon. Here we've got this female figure once again, almost looks like, there's this kind of sadness kind of looking through the window or landscape. Then we got another portrait figure, female subject most of the time. And once again, here we got 3 female nudes kind of painted in blue, a portrait and another portrait nude. So also very bold kind of statements and really focusing a lot on femininity and a vibrance of emotions. So then the latest artwork that we've got from her here. Uh, Let me just see if I can quickly. And then this latest artwork that I've got here is here it seems somebody picked up her artwork. So it's this beautiful artwork. It is a female figure once again wearing a bit of a polka dot shirt and long hair with these horns kind of going out of it, makeup on it, and there is this kind of, you know, um, deformity in the face, but there is still this kind of vibrance to it. There's these beautiful patterns and colors in the background, and overall happy emotions being projected, but with a unique kind of deformed angle, abstractness to it. What do you think about these artworks, Zian and Chrissy? Let's start with you, Ziak.
So, yeah. Well, I think that she obviously has her own style, which is like the more you look at it, the more that you can see these pieces like on a random place and know that it was Sara who did them. Um, I would love to, hopefully, she can get back in here because a lot of these pieces can mean something to us. For me, it's hard to explain all of them. Whereas if she comes hopefully through, she can tell us the explanation between, like the one on the middle row to the left of the lady that seems like she's in bed, she's laying down. That one is probably one of the ones that I'm more curious about because I would like to see what it means to her or what was she thinking about when she was doing these. Um, Another thing that I can just, and this is just like assumptions at this point, is just the fact that she uses very vivid colors, like a lot of red and orange. Um, this could also be a representation of certain emotions. if that's how she uses them. Because for me personally, I I'd like to do things with like more neutral colors, because very vivid colors can sometimes trigger a lot of heavy like emotional feelings, I guess, if that's a way to put it. Like there's a whole theory about how colors affect our brains and how they affect our emotions. For example, blue, which is one of my favorite colors, it makes people usually calm down, like relax a little bit. um, so I'm assuming that because she's using red a lot, that could be probably related to the situation in Iran. The fact that it's a very kind of um, heated situation between like the social, political problems that are going on over there. So maybe like she reflects that in her art as well with those vivid colors. Like it triggers that emotion of kind of an artistic view, but also like what's going on in this picture. There's a lot going on. The colors are very vivid. They're very present. Like it almost is trying to tell us there's something going on that we should be aware of. Like we should be awake whenever we look at these pictures. So it's probably something related to the situation. Like we should be awake and seeing what's going on. So that's just kind of my opinion. At this point, it's just my opinion. Hopefully, whenever she comes in, she can explain a little bit more.
Yeah, no. At least it is a recorded space, so she can come back and visit, our critique about her artwork. So, I just appreciate that sometimes about being able to record spaces. It is, it's very important, to kind of leave something, behind. Um, it's just, you need that. You need that for you for, developing and kind of like, just sometimes, having something to present about yourself. But with that being said, next up, we're going to just quickly go to Creasy there to give us his bit of insight into what he sees about this latest artwork of Zara.
Well, I'm gonna pull it up right now as I talk to you guys. This is a woman after my own heart. She's got the horns. She's got the lipstick, the large bust. I mean, these beautiful patterns too. I love Zara's patterns. She always makes the best patterns in the whole world. I really do. I agree with Z. It's like Zara's work when you see it. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy that she's getting sales because she deserves it. She's really working hard out here, showing up every day, coming into spaces, doing the things that need to be done in order to put herself out there. And this piece, I don't know. It's like the deformity gives me this kind of sense that like she like it's a beautiful woman, but on the inside maybe she's not all mixed up, you know and like and that like uncertainty or like maybe um insecurity or whatever's going on inside of her is affecting her relationships with other people, and and that could cause damage in other people's lives. I know that some women have that that air about them that they're really beautiful. You'd like to get to know them, but once you get to know them, they really cause a lot of problems in your life because of whatever feelings they're feelings on the inside, and it's showing on the outside. And that's kind of what the interpretation I have from this piece, personally, just from the way that she shaped the face and the eyes. um just like these red bags under one eye, and this eyeliner, and the double eyebrow, and the crooked mouth, the crooked nose, the blush on the cheek. I don't know if that's a bruise. Could be a bruise. She could be damaged. She could be like this is a beautiful woman, but she's damaged goods because somebody maybe abused her. you know there's a few interpretations I get from this piece. um but I think it's a really wonderful piece, and I'm glad that you shared it with us, Hansi. I wish Sarah was up here too, in order to give us her interpretation of her work. But yeah, thank you for sharing it.
Absolutely. And Asim, you also got something to say.
Just one thing. You mentioned that about the colors. I don't know the description of how hair works, but the one of our main colors in our traditional art, even in carpets or in traditional paintings, we use so many redness and all kind of red tolerance. I think in our everything, in our clothes, traditional clothes, and in our carpets, in our traditional paintings. Yeah, you can search that Iran's miniatures. I think it's not based up the exact stressful thing. For us, red it means warrior feelings because we always was in the war, some kind of war, even outside during the whole the history. Because of that, we all have this feeling inside. It's kind of a part of our DNAs. These warrior feelings, these really, really hot feelings about our country, about our people, about the emotions we have, about our national identity. Because of that, we use so much red in our arts. Not, I think it's not just because we want it. It's kind of it's being in our background to use red to express every feelings, not just because of the situation we have right now. And the PCF, you said that the left one in the middle, they are two people. It's a bed and it's a couple. I think she has a dream, and the dream draw on the blanket. I think I'm not sure, and you can't zoom in it. I saw that when you talk about it, and just it.
Okay, okay. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense now, and like yeah, you learn something new every day. Um, so yeah, I mean, at first I didn't see it, but yeah, it seems like it's a woman laying on top of a man, and he's kind of embracing her to probably take care of her, like calm her down if maybe she's having like a nightmare or something. So yeah, I mean, I have to leave right now, and but thank you, Nassim, for explaining that to me. But either way, I think that we both agree that red is it's a very expressive color. Like it's a very you express a lot of emotions with red, and like bright colors usually bring out more attention to the eye rather than like a calm, neutral color. Uh, so I think that's pretty awesome too. Something that I didn't know, but now I know. So thank you for that, and thank you for the space blue. I hope that Sarah comes back and she can get more details on these pieces because they're very interesting, and she knows what she's doing with these art. Like it doesn't. There's a lot in it, but it doesn't become like overwhelming like with some other pieces. It's very balanced out, which I personally like. So other than that, thank you so much, Blue, for the introduction at the beginning, for everyone that's been listening, and for the people that are in the space. Make sure you retweet it so that maybe some other people can come by and just like hear the interesting conversation. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day or a wonderful night, and for sure, like stay safe.
Thank you very much for being here with me in terms of, getting to know these artists. It is such a privilege. It really is such a privilege. And that being said, now we're going to go to get to know Bratislav Obscurio. Bratislav, are you there?
Oh, Jim, guys. What's
How
up?
are you doing today, Bratislav? And what's going on over there by your side?
Well, nothing much. Just resting, working these days hard on my drawing art, my new collection. I finished it. It's a succuba obsession, succuba seduction of men. You can find on my pinned tweet. It's one of art of my collection of the Sakuba. She's if you know about that, she's like a kind of demon who seduce men for pleasure and for their souls, and she come in the man who was alone, who has no girlfriend or wife, and she come to man dreams when the man fallen asleep. Then she come and can be very dangerous, but it's very seducing in the same time.
No, I've just posted it on top there so everybody can see it. The Succuba Seduction on Matic. Yes, I really like this one. It's so light in color. It's a black and white kind of image about this female sitting next to this man, and then they're both kind of sitting on a bed. And she's got this kind of long hair kind of falling down her back. He also got some fairly long hair, and she's wearing this lingerie with this kind of helmet horns on her head. It's just horns, and yes, she's kind of seducing this guy, and you can see, this kind of sexual undertones to this image, in terms of interpreting and understanding the situation. And so it is a kind of like a kind of being represented almost in a kind of demonic sense, but very good artwork. I really like it, and just so much to be say about it. Chrissy, what do you say?
Oh well, Bratislav, you know I love your work, man, and I love the story behind this. This is like such a, um, I would say sexual overtone, Blue. Like, she has her hand on the leg. The other hand is resting in his hands on his lap. I mean, they're on a bed. Like it seems to me, like but she's got these ears that are like pointy, like kind of almost like elf-like, and it makes me think. It reminds me of like Shakespeare, play. About the imps and succubus and like all that. And I think with the long hair and everything, it just kind of really gives me that vibe, that Shakespeare vibe. So really like the piece, Bratislav. Thank you for sharing it.
Now, Bratislav, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's get to know your artistic journey of what you do and what you've been kind of doing, so that we can kind of walk away. You're having gotten to know you a bit, and that everybody, listening, everybody's in the room, people from YouTube and so forth, they can also understand a little bit more about you. And you just kind of can kind of then present yourself into a better light in terms of what you represent and what is your kind of overall kind of purpose as an artist. What is it that you give to society through your art? So, Bratislav, please start by kind of introducing yourself there a bit more to everybody.
Hi everyone. I just maybe I'm Rag. I don't know if you hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Thanks, Bratislav.
Yeah, when I starting to work with AI artist and working in drawing art with the pencil art as well, and I found myself lately in the AI, but I just decided to return to the drawing art as well and create this small collection for Sakuba. When I Sakuba obsession with man, my I working on dark arts and gothic arts, speciality in dark arts and gothic arts. I like to create anything mythological, from the beast to the monsters as well. But I want to experiment. I want to go far beyond the monsters, some religic things, beings as well, something like that. And I every time I criticize myself and experiment with new things and to new dark arts, and maybe sometime I go beyond my comfort zone and create something simply very crazy, very dark. But that's me. I mean, if you like that kind of art, the dark arts and everything about dark arts, especially and gothic arts, you can find on my OpenSea many things I have, and I experiment with the pixel art as well. I like in pixel arts, so I hope that you like what I created for this collection.
No, of course I do. And I've always been amazed at your artworks, because you've always got that kind of gothic art, dark art kind of angle to it, but yet you present it in such a creative manner, and you always have this type of story about it that really kind of resonates with everybody else, and you kind of talk to about that kind of darker themes, about elements of politics and religion and sexuality, and these type of you know conversations that you really bring to the table, and always have that unique kind of dark art angle to it. So I think you've kind of found your style, and you found your way of doing things, and I just have so much admiration for that.
Yes, thank you, Blue, and Greasy as well. And you can see in this particle collection about Succubus, you see she's not always been the demon, the beast. She's been a nice girl in beginning, and on other side, she decided to must have all and be obsession with men, and she decided to sell her soul for the powers and to become the Sakuba. And later in the story, in the art, you can see that she simply turns turn herself into the beast. Eventually, she's not a girl anymore, because the greed for power, for man, for pleasure, he simply devour her completely.
I think I've had some of those in my life, Bratislav. No,
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I think there's both of that on both sides. I think the succubus can be both male and female, to be honest.
I th-
And
I
yes,
think in mythology, Blue. I think it is succubus and incubus. Incubus is the male version of the succubus, and they have the same type of powers and strengths and weaknesses, and they both go for pleasure and power and all these things. And so I really like this. This is a different piece for you, Bratislav, and it's really cool. Thanks for sharing it again.
I forgot to tell you guys, maybe you don't know, maybe you know, but Sakuba's primary objective is not only to get in bed with a man. She's primary objective is to get pregnant for the uh, mortal man.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, that is interesting. And then let's move on to the next speaker there. Here we've also got Robert Oz. Robert Oz, how are you doing today?
Hey Blue, hey Casey, Obscure, and everybody else. Nice to see you guys all
Yeah,
have.
so To everybody who doesn't know, Robert Oz is the one that makes it possible for us to put this clip from Twitter onto YouTube, and it is through a collaboration between myself and Robert that all of this is kind of happening. And we really want it to be raw. We don't want it to be edited. We don't want it to be manipulated. What you get is what you get. It is pretty much what it is. You are welcome to the Twitter space. You're welcome to a live presentation of the Art Lounge. So we are not going to edit it. We are not going to manipulate it. If you want to know what it is about, then you either go to YouTube or you listen to the recording. But it is epic, it is deep, it is symbolic, and it is all about the arts. It touches on all elements of the arts, from writing to performance arts, visual arts, and everything in between, and it goes to as much as we can say about the arts as possible. So Robert Oz is a very good graphic designer, artist, AI artist, and film kind of filmmaker as well to a degree. Also does a lot of things on YouTube already, and he also contributes to a lot of different projects on the Twitter communities. And for that being said, just an absolute legend in the space. Also, I've collaborated with Robert Oss in the collection of When Art is a Voice, including with Bradislav here and Creasy. So just really looking forward to collaborating with more artists and presenting, some of the top-notch, outstanding, artists that are on the spaces. And just know that, these artists that you are being presented with at times, they really are a curation of some of the best. Top-notch artists, people that deserves to be the celebrities of tomorrow because they stand out. If you don't see it, I see it, and everybody else will see it. So, Robert Oz, why don't we start with a bit of an introduction there about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Roberto and I'm from Mexico, but I'm living in Chicago. What I do, I practice meditation and I have visions about me, my family, and friends, and then I make them into art, which is more meaningful to me and them. And sometimes they make them cry. Right now, I just want to put a piece of art me and Blue collaborated with, and I don't remember the other artist. I think Creasy too, and more artists who collaborated with it. But as you can see on the background, it talks about the poem. And I got inspired by Blue, and it says a faint whisper of resonant frequency. You can see the lady whispering on the background, like the frequency, the light, and then plants a seed, a vision of emotion, which is the plants on the side and seeds flowing. So that's how I got inspired. And you feel that energy begins to pulse. You see the energy in the middle. I pin up the artwork we did, and the subconscious breathes into it and feels the urge to create. So I thought that I'm not really good at reading, but I gotta get better. But yeah, he inspired me to create this artwork, and I really want to talk about it since a long time ago. But I get nervous on spaces still. I'm trying my best to get better, but yeah, I think we inspire each other, and I like collaborating with anybody and Blue. And if you have any questions or want to do AI collaborations, or if you don't have like the the AI journey, I can help you with some prompts or anything. So really like helping people. I already helped two artists come into the platform. They already sold a few NFTs, which it's really exciting when the new artist comes in and they sell the first NFT. So it's pretty cool to be part of Mr. Blue's project, and hopefully is it a start, just the beginning of it, and we can keep on pushing and working with each other. So yeah, that's what I do. Thank you, Blue.
You know what? You are an absolute legend for the amount of collaborations that you've done and the amount of people that you've helped out, and just the various things that you've done. And you're always there. When I press on your button, you're there. Like For instance, when we collaborated with that Test Quake 8, where, I was like, I need an artwork for this poem. And, you were there straight up. I mean, I wasn't even, asking twice. And you made it possible. And that is something that I appreciate about you. It's like the fact that you are so reliable for, anybody. That's just you. You've got this kind of deeper spirituality about your art. And, what you're saying, just sometimes it's just amazing what you can produce. Never mind, the fact that you are so open and so free about it. And, yes, I absolutely admire that about you, for the fact that you have such a loyalty to your friends, and so trustworthy in terms of you know um, just what we are doing and how we can collaborate. And the same with you there, Chrissy. The amount of trust that I sometimes put in you guys, it's just outstanding. And the fact that you deliver, the fact that I feel like, we can go on because, we are trusting one another, and we're moving forward with that trust in each other. And to me, that is just something special. And that is something special about the NFT community. A lot of trust, a lot of kind of collaboration, and people are really kind of mingling. Different communities are collaborating. It's a wonderful world, and it's a golden opportunity for so many artists to really explore. And so, tell us a little bit about your NFT journey there, Roberto.
My NFT journey. So I started. I mean, my life was boring. Like 10 years ago, I would just go to work and come home and eat, go to work every day, and then I started practicing meditation with psychedelics and start having these visions. And at first, I told it to my friends, but there was no easy way for them to see what my vision was. So since I'm a graphic designer, I started making the art out of it. Uh, let's see. Hopefully, I can find one real quick. But one of the first visions I had was um, about my mom, because she asked me like, why don't you ask the spirits where the treasure is? Because in Mexico, there's a lot of treasure everywhere, like in old buildings and old places, and a lot of people have found treasure. Like there was this story about these kids playing on the in a playground, and somebody went next to a house, and there was a little hole, and they started digging, and they found a little nugget of gold, and they showed it to the teacher, and the teacher took it, and then after that nobody heard about the teacher, and he disappeared with all the money, and the poor kid just stayed there. So there's stories like that that tell people about there's gold in Mexico. So my mom told me, because she also been digging around the property, like there was a bunch of holes around the property. She would use like a key to find, uh, like if it starts rotating, she'll start digging there. Like it was something out of the ordinary, but I never believed that she was gonna find it. But she asked me to ask the spirits, and that's what I did. And I was meditating, and I seen this light, bright light, coming through my head, and it landed in my heart. And in my heart, there was this beautiful golden treasure with red. It was red with golden edges, and it opened up, and inside it was a beautiful fractal geometry heart, which meant that the biggest treasure we have is our family. So I told this to my mom, and she said, "Yeah, you're right. Treasure, the family is the biggest treasure I have." So after that, she stopped digging, and then she started crying, and then she hugged me, and it was really sentimental, and we connected with each other more. I mean, we're really a big family, but with this, it made her understand that the gold she was always looking for, she was never gonna find it because she already had it in the heart of the family. So that's what I do.
I love that. That is just so beautiful, and it also shows that, somewhat, in all creativity, there is that subconscious involvement. There is that dream state. There is that meditative consciousness, and you sometimes know just how to tap into it in terms of creating your artificial intelligence artworks. There's always this, higher kind of spirituality attached to it, in how you're capable of reflecting on both those areas of the consciousness and the subconscious.
Yes, yeah, it's really hard because I tried meditating by myself, but psychedelics makes it easier because I just stay, go to my room, and like for 3 hours, I don't do anything. I just sit there. Sometimes I really cry because this thing really hits you in the heart. It's really deep sometimes, and you just gotta let stuff go and let it guide you through the meditation. But I mean, a lot of people do it for fun, which I'm okay with it, but they should try meditating because. I mean, you can create a lot of art from it too, and it's a bunch of people like doing like crazy art pieces. But I think that's part of the creation too. Everything needs to each other to exist, so you need those people to experiment, and those people that meditate because they complement each other and they have different experiences. So yeah.
No, that's it. It's like you interpret those, difficult emotions, those difficult spiritual kind of experiences, and putting clarification on that in a kind of visual medium is obviously going to be difficult. But you have found a kind of way, and that is just uniquely you. It is almost as if that spirituality element of you is actually, the essence of your art.
Yes, because without it, I wouldn't be here. Because without it, I won't have the guts to explain to people. Because, like I said, my life before was I would just go to work and go home. But I didn't talk to anybody, and this made me like come out of my shell to express the art from within. So yeah, so that's what's I'm here, and I'm thankful for that. And hopefully, I can keep creating and inspiring more people.
That you are already no problem there at all. And Chrissy, what's your kind of take on, the spiritual kind of psychedelic subconscious?
That's why I draw to begin with, is so that I can feel closer to the divine. When I was a kid, I drew as an escape to get away from the chaos that was around me. And I had the heartbreak of the bridge collapse, and I lost the only people I loved in the whole world. And then I was kind of grew up in a trap house, like a kind of thing. And then so it was a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol, a lot of all these things going on around me as a small child. And I took the pencil to sketch pad, and I just drew, and that's how I felt closer to God, and it stayed with me all this whole time. And then whenever I draw, it just brings me that much closer to the divine. And so, I'm gonna keep doing it. It's definitely a spiritual aspect to art for me. It's the connection there, and like I want to like harness that connection. I want to strengthen that connection. I want to, you know do any and everything I can to keep it strong, because without it, I think I would feel lost. I really would. um so I rock in totally agree with Robert. And I don't personally, I've taken psychedelics before in the past, and I can understand, what Robert's talking about. But I don't, these days I find that connection all on my own, when with my prayers and my meditation, and then my art. I feel that connection with my higher power. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I feel like it's one of those things that gets me through each day, and in a healthy and good way. So
Yes, and it also points that, all art really has this kind of therapeutic healing sense to it, almost as, part of it. And therapeutic, spiritual, healing. I think those three words really kind of clarifies it best. But that is it. When you look at an artwork, you sometimes need to ask yourself that. You need to ask yourself even that, what is the spirituality context of this artwork? What is that kind of subconscious level to this artwork? That kind of dream state, imaginative, state, that healing state. What is it? What conversation does it give in terms of, that healing context? And that's kind of comes back to hope, that healing, that spirituality. It also comes back to hope, that little bit of light that flickers, that colors that's still present, and all of that, even in the darkness, there is that color. Even in, the darkest art, there is a bit of light, and that's that hope, that that spirituality, even religious context in this regard can be interpreted as a spirituality element.
100%, 100%. And I'm like Hansi. I'm just chomping at the bit here to just spread some good news that I had this week too. Is it okay if I do that now?
Go right ahead. Go right
Okay,
ahead.
awesome. I will do that. Well, I found out early on in the week, like maybe Monday or Tuesday, that I made the orange list for Sattributes.art project, and I'm like through the moon about it. I'm like really into this project. It's something that I think we all should kind of know about. I know Blue, I know you're in the Discord and everything, and I'd like to get the people here involved as well. Just to go to Sattributes.art Twitter profile, join the Discord, see what's going on in there. They're all about the community and about the art. And this orange list, it's an inscription of one of the first Satoshis that was ever mined. It's being inscribed with this third round of ordinals that they're sending out, and I made the list. It's I don't know how they pick them, but they chose me, and I'm really excited about it. I've been sharing my art with them. We're talking about doing some things in the background with my goats, maybe some inscriptions in the future, but also I talked to a woman who runs a company called Gifted Back, and she helps blind artists sell their art through crafts, knitting, visual arts, and the like. And she invited me to be her featured artist at an event at a museum in San Diego this fall, and at another event for glaucoma in San Francisco in February. And so I'll be traveling to be the featured artist there for that event, those two events this year and early next year. And I'm so looking forward to it. I'm through the moon about it. I can't believe this is happening. I'm so excited. And I just wanted to share that with you all. And also, I'm running a competition. I'm going to post it up top. Um, if you color in this goat that I have, I'm going to run a space tomorrow night about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Eastern. Um, and you'll win one of these NFTs. I picked up an NFT off the floor of the Fat Rat Mafia. It's just worth like 0.03, and I'm going to give it away to whoever wins. The community's going to vote, and whoever wins the top prize wins that Fat Rat Mafia. So I'm going to post it up top. I would like everybody in the room to get in on it. I know it's short notice, but I haven't had a lot of time this week to promote it. I'm going to post it up top, get in on the color it in, see if you can win a Fat Rat. And yeah.
I just wanted to tell you one thing, this journey on Twitter, kind of finding these people to collaborate with in the collection of When Artists Voice has not been an easy task. But the first priority was to isolate those individuals who stand out, those who literally, do the effort in terms of, trusting, blue to black, first of all, and but also standing out in terms of what I can see in them. The talent, the creativity, the expression, and then, helping to kind of build that artist to to show that artist that yes, I'm on your side. And having somebody in your corner is just sometimes so important, because it just shows that having that first acknowledgement that if you can convince me that you're brilliant, then I'm sure that you can convince the whole world. And just believe it. That is the funny thing here about presenting you artist, presenting you as the voice of Blue to Black, and kind of seeing that, yes, this to me is a curation of the top notch artist. But you have to believe it as well. You, the artist, need to embrace the fact that you stand out, and that you have to do something with that, and you have to take that confidence boost and develop it, believe in it. I'm not saying you need to be arrogant about it, but you need to grow from it. You need to feel proud about it, because it is an achievement. This what we do with When Art is a Voice is no normal collection. It is one of a kind. And for that in itself, know that you know this will live on forever, just like some of the other projects that you're going to be doing. And the Satributes crowd is a good crowd. I do like what they are representing to a degree. I'm just sometimes a little bit unsure about their artificial kind of angle, and I have to kind of still figure out whether they can be the right type of people to get involved in terms of augmented reality. But if it's not possible, then where there's a will, there's a way. That you've already kind of proved by, helping me out in, doing these smart contracts.
Absolutely, Lou, and I appreciate your support. I mean, like above anyone else's, like you've been right there with me in my corner, like supporting me top notch, and I really appreciate it. And like anything that happens in the future, I know that you've just been a huge part of my journey, Blue, and I want you to know that, and I just want you to know that I appreciate you, and I love you like a brother, man. And I hope that we keep having these conversations, and keep having these spaces, and keep doing what we're doing out here, man, because it really really matters. It really does. Some of these artists that we talk to are just brilliant. They just haven't seen the light of day, and we're able to give that to them, and it's the best feeling in the whole world. It really is. It's more satisfying than sharing my own art with someone. Is to see some of these artists come alive, and you're a huge part of that. And just know that you're a pillar out here in the space, Blue, and yeah, man, I'm gonna get all emotional.
No, as an artist, most of us are pretty emotional, and that is exactly the way to be. You need to express on those deeper emotions, and you need to sometimes, start with honesty, and start with the true expression of what you're feeling. And if you can get that right, if you can be honest about that at all times, then you can develop that to just be deeper and deeper and deeper until you blow people's mind in just what you can say, and how well you can convey your emotions. um and like I say, you've got me on your side. And now let's get actually, before I do, Greasy, why don't you post something there on top for us to quickly look at, so that we can just kind of like share that as well, to everybody else.
Absolutely. I'll post my latest line art up there. Um I believe his name is Jack. We're gonna create a backstory for him, and and he's gonna have this whole thing. I'm gonna create his arch nemesis here. That's something I'm working on this weekend. But this is Jack in all of his glory. And it's just a line art for now. I haven't done the shading yet, but this is something recent I've done over the last week or so, and I'm kind of honing in on these goats, and I'm really making something special here.
Okay, so here you got Mr. Goat, Fat Mafia. No, don't forget tomorrow night I'm giving a, okay, Fat Rat Mafia. Okay, that's the artwork that you're giving away to the winner of the competition. So here you have to change this artwork into a colored version, and make it uniquely your. Will have a different interpretation of this artwork. So I've been present in the previous one that you did there, and it seemed fun. I saw a lot of different angles to these Mr. Goats, and this one looks quite business orientated. With the name tag and the tie, and the horns there, and this kind of bearded chin, and the hand in a pocket, and a bit of attitude in its position. So yeah, great artwork. And how do you draw these?
These are hand drawn on my iPad using the Adobe software, Adobe Fresco. Um, I start with a mark and I go from there, and it's kind of what I have in my head. I have these I've been doing more and more of them, and they seem to be catching on. People seem to like them. We're talking in the background with some really great storytellers, and we're gonna give these guys a backstory, and they're gonna have their arch nemesis, and who's gonna be, as of right now, I think it's gonna be the Shadow Master. I don't know if he's gonna be human or not. I'm like back and forth, and if it's gonna be an anamorphic being or a human being. But it's definitely going to be something to look out for. This is something that's we're gonna take this to the moon. These goats are gonna go to the moon. So probably on the Bitcoin network. I'm looking at doing on the Bitcoin network. So I'm moving from Ethereum. I'm gonna stay on the Ethereum network, but I'm also gonna venture into the ordinals as well. So
No, man, you're doing a great thing there, and I like the declarations. You really get people involved, and I'm sure it will just grow. And that just shows that you're also playing a role in the art community, collaborate with each other, and making presenting different artists to other artists, so that we can also get to know their angles and their unique style of how any artwork can really conform to their unique angle. And I love that about it.
well, it's just something fun. I wanted to do something fun that wasn't like retweet this and engagement this, and everything else. I just want to do something fun for the community that they could all get in on. It doesn't matter how much art experience you have. I mean, it doesn't take that much to color in something, but I think, some of these people are like Chris Vaughn's daughter did one. He showed it to me on Discord, a time lapse of her creating it. It's really awesome. I'll have to download it and on Saturday night and post it up so everybody can see it. But yeah, it's just people having a lot of fun with it, and that's all I wanted to do is just create something that people could have some fun doing. So, and then get a prize for it too. You know what I mean? So, and this is I'm coming out of my own pocket just so we all could have a good time. Because I can't forget about my PFP communities either. They're in the NFT space and they're strong still. Even though they've taken a hit this year, the communities are still really strong, and so I want to reward those communities as well by creating some engagement for them too. So and some little bit of promo, but yeah, it's just like I said, I meant it to be fun. That's all I ever wanted was just to have some fun. So fun with art. But TK's been up here forever, and we haven't heard from him yet. So,
Yeah, let's. Oh, bloody! I just realized my mic is
oh,
off. I've been talking to the Chrissy for a while
uh
there. I didn't even realize my mic was
oh.
off. Um, yeah, so TK, welcome to the panel here. Why don't you start by introducing yourself there to everybody?
Hey, Blue. Hey, Chrissy. What's up, guys? Hey, Robert. I was just listening to your talk, and dude, I can relate on so many levels. Love it, man. Love it. And Creasy, brother, these artworks that you have here, you can totally count on me to color them in. Just that I just had one little doubt for you. Like, would you mind if I reran these on Mid Journey or something like that, and gave you, colorful renditions on Mid Journey? Will that be okay with
I
you?
don't mind at all. Last week, well, actually, it was 2 weeks ago. We had some AI images that people ran them through AI. So the last competition, it was AI, it was color, it was whatever people wanted to bring to the table. So like I said, I just wanted to create some fun out of this. So whatever you want to do, TK, is good with me.
Love it, man. These artworks are so beautiful. I totally love all of these artworks. And Blue, yeah, man, I've been like, going at it like these days, and it looks like, there is no end to this tunnel, but gotta keep at it, right? So just to introduce myself, I'm TK in short. Like, my full name is Tarun Krishna, and I'm from India. I'm basically working on my project right now that's called Artina, which is basically a branding company that helps, Web 2 businesses brand themselves on Web 3 and stuff like that. But it's all a very, let's just say I'm still finding my way. So nothing to be in concrete, but I've even been dabbling into AI art and NFTs and stuff like that. Like, I very recently minted on Object because I've been seeing the community on Object has been so, it's very welcoming, and it's a very vibrant community altogether. So I just wanted to be a part of that, and I was very interested in minting on ordinals as well, like on the Bitcoin network, right? So, Chrissy, I'll be just coming back to you for that. Like, I just had a couple of doubts on that. Though, yeah, like, I'm currently exploring, different blockchains to mint my NFTs. And what my NFTs are basically, these are artworks, like they're called AI punks. So these are different kinds of characters that are created on AI, and basically these artworks will give you access to not just the art in general, but you can also get the variables that are tagged to those artworks. So these variables are currently available on Decentraland only, and along with Decentraland, like, there are these other metaverses as well, like on Cyber, Monaverse, and Hyperfi, that are where you can use these variables as well. So soon you'll also have access to these variables on Spatial and Ready Player Me environments as well. But currently, yeah, that's I mean, I just minted my first NFT on OpenSea and the Object, and that's on the Polygon network again because of the gas fee and stuff like that. So yeah, and also these NFTs on demand, like, you can even get physical prints. That was something I was doing with my website very long time back, but never really had any direction for that. But recently, after I've been through different let's say channels and different kinds of mindsets and stuff like that, I think I've finally found a way for me to create NFTs with utility in real life as well, like, not just digitally, though currently they're all digital right now. I mean, there's very little IRL utility for these, but I'm working on that, right? Like, that's one thing. And soon we can even have I mean, very soon we will have an Instagram filter, and soon we will have a completely independent filter as well, where we can just scan these NFTs, and they'll do crazy things on our screen. And yeah, so that's me, guys. I know I'm all over the place, but hopefully all these directions will converge one day and make sense, right? So yeah.
As long as you know, I'm waiting for that collaboration effort from you. The month's almost running out.
Yes.
This
No,
digital
I
fashion pieces, with your expertise and your knowledge about how to kind of make it happen. I really need you to do this. I need you to collaborate because you are already a part of this journey. You've been a co-host a few spaces. You're pretty much there on a weekend, and when I need you, you are there, and you're always kind of like so reserved and all that, but you're a legend, and I want you to know that I see something in you, and I want to develop that. I want to push that to the next level, and I want to upgrade you, and I want to kind of make you benefit from all this because it is what we make it. And the bigger we make the team, the better we make the team, then the better the project. I have no fear in how epic this collection is. I have no fear at all. And now you know that as well. You know how epic it is too. You have met some of the artists. You know what this is all about. So by all means, do it. And now I've also got that other kind of like extension to When Art is a Voice, where I'm also getting writers involved, for writers to kind of write something. Even if it's a few words, even if it's a poem, if it's a prose, if it's a short story or a debate or a conversation or a monologue or whatever it is. Write something, reflect on it, create something that's also called When Art is a Voice,
yo,
and then that
Blue.
will also become part of the collection.
I
Can you hear
love
me
it. I love it, man. That thing that you're doing for the writing community, you have all my heart for it, right? And very recently, like I was, I was also thinking on the same direction, and what I realized is Object for us has a golden gateway, man, where we can basically, print our own books as NFTs, and this can be a whole new wave of NFT books because when you think about it, like just like how there are gatekeepers for NFTs, and for different industries there are different gatekeepers, right? Just like that, like in the whole self-publishing industry, like there are these gatekeepers called the publishers themselves, and even though they give you a platform where you can create and sell your book and stuff like that, but they still have a certain level of control that is beyond your reach. And as the creator yourself, like as the writer, you just feel so crippled because you have no control over your own work, and it's just like you're at their mercy. Yeah, like if they'll give you your royalty check, you get it, otherwise you don't. And yeah, thankfully you have these places like Gumroad and stuff like that where you can create your own work and sell. But that's still, I mean, that's web 2, yeah, and good for us, like we can do that too. But I feel that in web 3 there has to be some some solution that's more concrete than just just like some chains trying to do NFT books where it's just all over. I mean, not to take anything away from them, right? But then I just feel just like how all artists come and mint their artwork on Object, like writers should also come and mint their books as PDFs, and just sell it like as their, because that is their work of art. And as long as they have the rights to it, like as long as no publisher, the gatekeepers basically are taking the rights to your work, like you should have the control in your own hands. And this is something that is so close to my heart, bro. I totally love it, and thank you very much for bringing it up, right? Thank you.
Let me just say that the problem with all of this is that I have to be as innovative as possible, but I also have to develop an idea of how to really incorporate the art world. So we've got the visual arts, we've got the performing arts, and then we've got like the fashion industry, and then we've got like dancing and writing and graffiti and body art and sculpture, and these various forms of art that you need to incorporate into all of this into NFTs, into, virtual reality and artificial intelligence and all of these kind of, modern concepts. But how do you do that? Even this concept of wearable NFTs, I knew that it was being done by somebody out there, but I didn't actually know exactly how it was done or whatever. I knew that, people are writing down smart contracts and these type of things. We didn't really know exactly how or whatever, but we figured it out, and, with the same with these wearable NFTs, we've kind of figuring it out. Now the next thing is a readable NFT. So how the heck we going to do that exactly? I'm still not sure, but we will figure it out. And that is just a beautiful thing.
It's actually out there already, I think, because even though I'll be doing it like this week, but then it's basically like we go on an object and we upload our PDF, like whatever book we have written, so we get the whole thing down into a PDF and upload that, and that's all, man. Like you can even upload your own cover picture, like whatever book cover you have, you can just upload it for the cover picture, and that's it. Like just roll out your editions and start selling. I mean, just imagine the amount of control you as an author can have over your work, because like this is just, I don't know why aren't people doing it. Like it's just so crazy, man. Like it like it's beyond me, yeah. Like because when I realized that this can also be done, I'm like, what the dude, this is the shit. Like this is what we should be all doing. And even when you think about it, like your like the poem that you've written for Blue to Black, like you can just create an NFT out of it, like it's an NFT poem, and just give it an artwork and just like, you understand what I'm saying, right? Like that, how many poets, how many writers, like all these script writers, and you should see the amount of like these indie authors, like people who have self-published their books and who generally self-publish their books. They're just so many, and the whole community is so vibrant. But then I don't know why haven't like people basically hopped on this ship, and why are we still feeding the gatekeepers like Amazon? And I don't know, man. Like I don't want to take names, but you understand, right? Like there are different kinds of basically the publishers, like people who say that, yeah, fine, we'll do the thing for you, but just publish under our name, and your work belongs to us and shit like that. Like that's just so sad. Like, and like this, we can be completely in control of the sales, we can be in control of everything, yeah. Just like Gumroad. And I mean, that's one way too, but this can also be another way. And I feel that it's an avenue that all everyone who's like into writing anything, right, like short stories and stuff like that, can always explore. Though I think there's a limit on uploading these PDFs, like how big the PDF can be. But that also can be a blessing in disguise, right? I mean, if your work is so big, you can just break it up into two parts, and now you have sequels and prequels and all that stuff to your work. And it's just crazy, man. Like I just feel that this thing is just ready to blow up. Like I don't know why aren't people like really jumping on this train, but once they do, they'll not get off it. Like that's what I feel. But then those are just my two cents. Yeah.
Yeah, so if we would incorporate, so Blue to Black promotes about 1,100 writers, last time I checked. So, there is a writing community being promoted already over the last few years by Blue to Black, but now kind of like moving into this next chapter, how do you approach that? How do you approach the writers? And the intention was always there, but it was just kind of more focused on realizing visual arts. The visual arts spectrum makes up the biggest following of Blue to Black in terms of the artists that it represents. Now it represents over 10,000 artists, and it is impossible to to say that. Writers are so difficult. If you think that the digital fashion designers are difficult to befriend, you have got a thing coming when it gets to the writers. They are introverted, they are emotional, and they are sensitive. So, just approaching a writer and asking him to, contribute something to a project like this, the amount of thoughts running through his mind in terms of my words given to somebody else, my precious, existence. It becomes a very sensitive matter, and it becomes, especially so with the writers. So they really are very difficult to convince to collaborate. But they need to understand the benefits of NFTs, and we need to set an example of how they can benefit through all this, because you know Blue to Black represents an international brand that really has these type of discussions. Who else will wonder about the international impact of globalization and modernization and decolonization and these type of funny elements? But why do we worry about that? Because we are already representing a global, community of artists. It is a community of artists. It's not a community specifically blue to black community. It is a community of artists. It is a community of artists from all walks of life and all practices of the art that are hoping that they can benefit somehow through blue to black. And how do they benefit? I cannot promote, it is impossible to promote everybody. It's impossible. So the only way of creating that avenue of promoting somebody in a kind of decent, fair way is by collaborating, and then putting those people first, prioritizing on those people who've been collaborated, because they become that voice that was produced, that was published, and that issue needs to be as inclusive as possible to the entire art world. So how do you incorporate graffiti? How do you incorporate body art? How do you incorporate sculpture and dancing? There is a way. It's not easy. But how do you say to somebody, this sculpture belongs to me, but it's still at his home? That one-on-one kind of thing about a sculpture. Can a sculpture be presented as additions? Can there be a printed version to a sculpture? Is there certain laws it's got to conform to? Does it need to be created as a 3D object and exhibited into a virtual setting? Or how can you approach it? How do you approach dancing? Do you create a video of the dance and then you just say like, okay, well, here's the choreography of that specific dance, let's convert it into a video, let's convert it into an NFT. Where there's a will, there is a way. And because of the impact and the overall awareness that Blue to Black gives to the rest of the world, it needs to focus on innovation, in specifically innovation, of kind of setting a stage of being that movement that it always intended on being. That what does the underground give to the rest of the world? What does it represent? These are the struggling artists. These are the artists that are doing everything to succeed in spite of the competition, in spite of the gatekeepers, in spite of their economic, political, and social challenges that they are experiencing. How are they still being innovative? How are they still kind of competing with the rest of the world and against the rest of the art world? How are we helping them kind of be broadcasted with all of these technological advances and so forth? And that really becomes so important. And that is why what we are doing here is something for the future. It needs to be the type of movement that it always set out to be. It needs to be, that spark to that revolution, to that contemporary movement that is, that next wave of art. But in order to do that, innovation is king, collaboration is king, and you really need to pay attention to that deeper voice of the arts, that really significant, themes, reflecting on contemporary issues, and, kind of like just staying true to the real emotions and reflections of society. But yes, you know, this is a journey. It is not a destiny.
100%. And I just wanted to also welcome some of the other speakers that came up to the panel. Casey, Samaye, Bahar. Casey, you're up here first. You want to say hello to everybody? Introduce yourself, or say what's going on.
Yo, what's up? How's everybody doing?
KC.
Blue to black, greasy, dude. Consistent voices, man. So nice to have consistent voices. Blue to black, you got good messages, man. You got good drive, you got good vision. You're asking the right questions. Above all, you're asking the right questions. That's I always enjoy more when someone's putting their effort into the questions versus trying to state their knowledge. That's always a better path forward in my eyes. So thanks for having me up, man. Thanks for letting us listen.
You know what, Casey? The thing here is, are we actually setting an example? Are we actually, guiding the art world in terms of, trends and technologies and these type of things? Are we actually doing that? Are we actually broadcasting, inclusivity? Are we actually promoting that we are amplifying your art, the followers, or the artist, or whatever. The main thing here is do you feel noticed? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel acknowledged? And that is the kind of what makes this so difficult. Uh it isn't easy. It really isn't easy. And all of the artists are basically the underground. A lot of them are showing their support in that acknowledging that they know they are also the underground. But people are just scared. Sometimes they're scared of taking that next kind of leap of faith. And that was the problem in the beginning. Casey, I'm completely talking to you right now, so you don't need to.
Okay.
um,
I didn't want to be rude. Because when you said that, I'm like, I'm right here, terrified, scared out of my mind. Oh, you're talking about me. This is terrifying. It's such a weird thing to pour your emotion and time value into a thing and then promote it and sell it and manage it as a business. Like, ugh. It's painful, man. I'm trying to find the joy in it, and I'm getting close. I held a little space the other day. A bunch of people came through, shared all their artwork, gave me a ton of motivation. So I'm like, I'm trying to find the peace and the joy in doing what needs to be done to overcome that hurdle, because it's such a big hurdle, man. I've got I've got um, I was fired from my job 9 months ago. I've got two little kids. My wife's working hard. I'm a stay-at-home dad. We're tight on the budget. I've got multitude of disabilities. And so getting on spaces in a timely fashion and having my wits together to present on the dime and be the perfect pitch person, it doesn't happen all the time. It's just not realistic. In my case is a little more extreme, but there's a lot of people out there. Like I have trouble with anxiety, and there are plenty of people on spaces right now, maybe right in this room right now, who have 10 times the anxiety that I have. And it is real and it is challenging. It is so hard. So when you're asking the question, like, how do we actually promote it as a whole? Like, you're pointing to a community effort of sharing and working together as a promotions community. And there's something there. There's something there to that, I think. Because I think it's rare that I hear somebody present their project or especially their art and have a pitch perfect presentation. It just doesn't happen very often. So, those are my thoughts.
And the other day, I thought I had a perfect pitch. And what did the guy say? Next time, keep the pitch shorter. I was like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't a pitch. Maybe it was a call to action. No, I'm just joking. But yes, you don't get a perfect pitch, because people will always have a comment on it. So, that's just the way it goes. People just need to, soak it up. here the stage is meant to be shared. It's meant to be about all of you, and it's meant to project on your talents and your creativity, and also broadcast you to different channels. So it really, with this launching of this When Artists a Voice, Blue to Black really migrated to so many different other platforms. Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn. Um, Reddit. It's on all of those channels now, and all of those channels are systematically being built. But everything is based on Twitter. Everything of Twitter is being promoted on those. Obviously, when Artists of Voice is independent, but everything goes back to Twitter. So this really is the heart of everything. And this is, you can actually see that in the entire NFT communities. You have so many different projects happening out there. There's flooded amounts of them. In fact, just that one group on Reddit. Now, Reddit is 1.5 million you know people in that group. It just shows you how many bloody NFT artists there are, and what is the what how much are you standing out versus 1.5 million people. Are you actually standing out? What are you doing to stand out? It's not as an independent artist, especially in the underground. How do you compete against that? How, if everybody just shows their project once a day, you'll never even look through all of it. It's that scary, man. It's impossible to even
So
have the proper data.
I like this conversation, and I want to point out something. We are head first going into the attention economy, and it is the sincere, earnest connections that you make, regardless of the outcome, that really fuel that launch and that lift. The more the more honest you are and sincere you are with just engaging to engage is really, as cliche as it sounds, I think that's where we're at. Because you're right. You're not going to capture 1.5 million off the bat, but if you're grinding on the daily and making sincere contacts with people, that spreads. Those networks don't just fade. They can over time, but you can engage further. So I'm a big fan of the artist push because I think it speaks to what you're talking about. I love seeing artists who are struggling and pushing through and getting up on stage and describing and gutting it out. Most of them don't speak English, or they speak a different language in the room that they're in, but they're there swinging for it. And I love that. Like, we need more of that. We need a lot more of that.
It's beautiful, actually. So I've been kind of like throwing my head around, you know, this first kind of attempt in terms of activating, a community of artists, activating them in terms of, getting together and representing a united front, you representing an independent art, competitor, in terms of, what we represent, despite what you what you want us to do. So it's not really meant to be about empowering me. It's about empowering you. It's about empowering you, the artist, by kind of toning you, building you up, preparing you, honing your skills, developing, your presence, your pitch, your artwork, making you believe in yourself, making you kind of see the value that you can present, and not focusing on, being like an art school critic where they're like breaking you down and pointing out all your faults and your errors, and like slandering you on, just what bad job you did in, that specific area. And this is not meant to be like that. This is meant to focus on what vision you are projecting and what message you are projecting through that vision, and kind of looking at the message of the art, the voice of the art, rather than the technical master abilities, and just the complete realism that's being presented. It's not about that. It really is about the voice of art. you know Fuck it sounds it's impossible, but when you really think about the context of why did I pick the words when art has a voice to be the voice, the first theme of Blue to Black. What does it mean when art has a voice? So few people even think about that, because it comes back to the artist. It comes back to what is your voice as an artist. What are you? What is your? What are you? What is the conversation that you're kind of contributing to society? Are you even contributing a conversation? What are those type of emotions that cannot be expressed through words, and how is it being reflected creatively through your skills and your artistry? And it just becomes a wonderful journey, because now you also start kind of accepting more art. It's not like you make your standard lower. It's like you make your perspective bigger, and that is so powerful. How you make your perspective bigger, and what you're then kind of saying in the collective context of all of these art. And that really is what then actually becomes so powerful. It really shows how the same sentence can say so much, and it can represent so much within the art world, and it can become an overall interpretation of the art world, of all art. The context of how you can interpret art, the awarenesses that it can create, the insights and the education and the inspirations and motivations and intentions, and all of these different things that are essentially part of the arts. But it always comes back to the artist. It always comes back to who are you, and what is that unique thing that you are giving through your art that contributes to society. And that then becomes the actual voice of the artist, the actual voice of the artwork, the story, the conversation. And that is just so amazing to tap into that, to tap into awakening that sense in the artist, of being aware of that at all times, of being aware of you know why don't I say something bigger? Why don't I reflect on contemporary issues? Why don't I reflect on humanity? How do I do that? How do I answer these pertinent questions regarding humanity? And Casey, I want you to present us an artwork of where we can also interpret that in terms of
Yeah,
what your voice as an artist.
absolutely. All right. So I have been thinking recently that I feel like I'm turning into like a techno artist. Like technology seems to be my medium. So what I just put up in the jumbotron is a piece that's 1 minute long, and it includes 5 or 6 different technologies. So I'm using Dream by Wombo, Motion Leap by Lightrix, Stable Deforum, Runway GL, and I'm filming it in a metaverse spatial environment using what I'm calling distorted macro 3D objects. And what I'm doing is, pardon me, sorry, I am going way beyond the normal map barrier in the spatial environment and using objects that are hundreds or thousands of times bigger than they would normally be, to the point where they're becoming distorted. And then I can zoom way out and
Is Casey
still
speaking there,
capture
or is it
that
me?
image. Oh,
Yeah,
does he not hear anything?
yeah, I heard you the whole time. Blue, I think you might rug a little bit there. Casey, you might have to drop down and come back up for Blue to hear you.
Chrissy, I can't hear anybody.
Uh oh.
Can anybody hear me? Oh, okay. I see Casey is coming back up again. Okay.
There we go. Is that better?
So Casey, sorry I lost you there for a few minutes, a minute or two. You mind repeating yourself there? Sorry about that.
No problem. I'll give you the shorthand version. Mic check. Can you hear me okay, though? Okay. Okay. All right. So, anyways,
No, look,
oh, Blue. Can you hear me, Blue? Oh no. It's that doggone South African. Yeah. What you do? You brought your awesome video up here and broke it. You just broke the space. Why, damn you?
Oh man. Yep, there it is. Host is having connection issues. Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna
Well, that was a fun conversation though. That was
Yeah.
fun.
It's great to hear your voice, Casey. I really appreciate you coming up, man. I really do.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the conversation. Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I got some shit cooking.
Oh, do you? Me too, man. I'm looking forward to the future, man. It's just I got these goats that I'm doing. Like, you're getting ready to see some really cool stuff going on with them.
Yeah.
I gotta jump in the shower anyway, so it's the space rugs. That's fine. I gotta get ready to go somewhere.
Be well. Enjoy. Have a good one.
All right, buddy.
Okay, Chrissy, I'm back. Where's Casey now?
He left. He thought the space was about to rug.
Oh, well, I just got back. I can hear you fine now, so.
Okay. All good. Yeah, he thought it was gonna rug, so he left. I actually have to jump in the shower. I can stay on the space. I just got to get in the shower and start getting ready. I got to go here in the next 30 minutes or so.
Okay, well, that's a pity. I really wanted to have a look at Casey's artwork there. So quite a pity that he's not here anymore. But let's hope he returns. And yeah, but it's fine. We can also close the space and we can pretend that it did get rugged. I'm just joking. But yes, let me just quickly have a look at his artwork there on top.
I told him he broke the space with his video.
Oh, DK, would you be able to play us that sound of that video? Would you be able to do that for us?
Yeah, sure. Just give me like 2 minutes on this. I'll set everything up and give you a thumbs up. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's fine. Then at least we can listen to it, and then the people who are listening through YouTube, if it's selected, then they can also kind of have a listen to it. And then we'll just kind of guide through it in terms of, what is being said. It is the Fire Shaman version 2 to 5 of 20 editions listed at 5 deaths. So it's an object. All holders can send one image to me to be animated. Okay, it's 1 minute long. Okay, love to see it. We're probably going to have a look at it now. I want everybody to be able to kind of listen to it. So yes, we'll see. This, this fact that we are presenting this to YouTube does scare a lot of people away, but in reality, I don't actually have to state it. In fact, everything of these spaces are on public information that can be used and are already being used But it is wise and it is good of you to actually be bold about it and to state that you are going to use it for that platform, because then it kind of opens the person up to at least know where he can find it, where he can, go and revisit it. If you are being featured on your, then at least you can take snippets out of this and use it for your own self promotion. uh, I did allow people to remix the space for their own purposes. So you can go into, the section that is on, if you're being featured on it, and you can cut snippets out of it and use it for yourself, use it for your own YouTube channel, or use it for another video or something like that, because at least we are being bold about it. We are stating it instead of you discovering it later. We are actually stating it. It is all about, giving the person the chance of actually agreeing whether you want to be featured on YouTube or not. And I think that is more important, getting that permission, that consent, that the person at least acknowledges that you're going to do it. And that is just, I feel that is more honest about it. So yes, it's important. But yes, you need to get that consent. Tika, let me know when you're ready there.
Yeah, I'm ready now.
Okay,
Should I
good.
play?
You can play it. I'll turn off the mic.
Yep, that was it.
Okay, good. Now, I suppose it's probably wise to also guide the viewers as to what just happened with the music. So yes, it is a video of about a minute long, and it starts with this image, um, of this vast open darkness, and then light kind of like zooms into a specific area within this universe, the story universe. And it kind of focuses on this kind of wormhole effect that kind of travels all the way through this space, and it gets to this unique location, this almost island world. And on the top of this, there is this artwork, this artificial intelligence, ever changing artwork of this figurine that almost, is subdued in smoke and fire and, a heart beating, in the center, kind of futuristic artwork that just kind of changes into various artificial kind of simulations. And it creates this almost superhero effect of the character being on display. And that's pretty much what the video is about. It's really good. It's from Casey Imagination that you can find on Twitter, and it is Fire Shaman. So yes, that just I hope that kind of clarifies a little bit better about what we were just seeing, and I think that was a pretty good space. I really enjoyed talking to everybody here today, and much appreciated. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for being part of this adventure, and just know that we are moving. We are spreading our wings. This is what we're doing now, and we are exploring different places for us to kind of take hold and to present what we have created on Twitter, and to present what we are representing. And with all that being said, Robertos, thank you once again. I really appreciate having you part of this, this initiative. And I would love to know if you have figured it out how to collaborate on YouTube. I know there is a way. I have heard people say it. I think it's to do with kind of connecting channels to a degree. I'm not sure exactly. But there is a world. Where there's a will, there's a way. Thank you all for being in a space. TK, you're just as much of a legend. Jonathan, the same to you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you once again for visiting the Art Lounge.